Welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am Victor Onyango. Saba Saba remains a synonymous and an important day in Kenya's political and liberation history. And yesterday, Raila Odinga successfully, for once, conducted a Saba Saba engagement in a way that was clearly unprecedented. And to me, it seemed that even the security agencies in the country were not prepared for such turnout and organization. You remember that the last demonstrations that Raila Odinga conducted and the Azimio team were marred by attacks from the police forces. And therefore, the decision to spread these demonstrations across the country worked in a great way. First of all, it helped make that event not look like a one-man affair where Raila Odinga would be accused of trying to create chaos in one way or the other. But it also looked like many tribes and various categories of Kenyans were participating in this event. And for this reason, I think Raila Odinga scored a lot. And one other milestone is that they managed to get to the CBD. This really works to show that he had planned, he was well organized, and he knew what he wanted to achieve. Now there is this thing that they started yesterday, which is collection of the 10 million signatures. Many people have tried to analyze it. Many people have tried to look at the reason why they have decided to go after 10 million signatures. And people are wondering, if this signature is aimed at impeaching President William Ruto, how is it going to work out? Because Raila Odinga has maintained that every action that they are going to do throughout this demonstration and civil disobedience strategies is that they will always remain to work within the law. Then, where in the law does collection of signatures come in? Collection of signatures comes in at the point where you want to impeach or recall your member of parliament or your governor or any elected leader, especially when it comes to considering lower elective positions. But when it comes the president, you can collect signatures to petition the members of parliament to do an activity or to impeach the president. And therefore, he cannot be directly impeached using signatures and taken to any entity like IEBC or anywhere. But they can use it as a force to force members of parliament to impeach the president for failing to deliver or to undertake certain specific activities. But then in parliament, we have seen the finance bill pass. And therefore it is known that that is not a route that Raila Odinga can follow. Even if you look at the speech that he was giving, he noted that members of parliament have failed us, and therefore we can never trust them again. What does Raila Odinga want to achieve with this signature collection? And let us remember one thing. They have capped the signature collection to 10 million Kenyans. That should give you a hint of what they want to do with that. I want us to look and critically analyze the political strategy behind Raila Odinga's and Azimio's call for collection of 10 million signatures. First reason that I think this event has been initiated is that Raila Odinga and Azimio are looking at 2027 elections. We know, if you look at the party activities right now, Kenya Kwanza through UDA is recruiting party members. And Malala said they want to ensure that they have registered 15 million party members. In one analysis that I did, I told you that there is a reason behind collection or registration of 15 million people by UDA in their team. Remember one thing, that elections going forward and as we continue progressing, elections depend on data mining. And UDA, through recruitment of 15 million party members, is using this strategy to mine electorate's data and use it as a tool to inform their campaign strategy. This is the strategy that Cambridge Analytica used in the United States. And this is also the strategy that Cambridge Analytica used in Kenya in 2017. And therefore, Raila Odinga and his team, through their strategy, I believe they have looked at Kenya, they have looked at the steps UDA is making, and they want to also have a database of details of Kenyans who support their call. These details will then be collected and stored in their database where they can understand and gauge and use social engineering campaigns to help promote their campaign strategy. I want to tell you one thing, that in the process of collecting this information, I presume they will be collecting ID numbers, and I also presume they will also be collecting phone numbers. In these two details, ID numbers, we know that in 2022, when Kenyans were preparing to go for elections, different parties were given party register, and therefore they are in possession of party registers from the IBC in the soft copy. They will use the details they have there from now till 2027 to locate and understand where each and every person is voting and understand their demographics and everything about them when it comes to elections. Then again, they also have the phone numbers. These phone numbers can be used as tools for sending promotional messages to Kenyans. And therefore, once they get this, you can find prompts in your messages telling you that they promised this, they have not delivered. They promised this, they have not delivered. What do you think we can do? Join us in liberating Kenya and making Kenya great again. This is a kind of campaign strategy that is always used in the United States. And therefore, for me, I believe the greatest war here is getting data from the electorates. In this, if you look at it critically, there is this scandal about Huduma number. Huduma number was just good as it was. But you realize that UDA government have said, we do not want to take this Huduma number that was produced or that was conducted by Uhuru Kenyatta. We are going to do our own. Their own is going to use your data and is going to determine how you are going to vote in the next elections. And therefore, the next election is a war of data, and this data must be obtained from citizens. This collection of signatures is one strategy that Raila Odinga and his team could easily be using to get critical data from electorates and then use it to fund their campaign in 2027. Another reason why I think that could be a reason for the collection of signatures, it is not critically meant to impeach President William Ruto, but it is a way of trying to show the president that if you look at the number of people who voted or who voted for you, you won with 7 million and something, but we have 10 million Kenyans supporting us now. And therefore, our mandate is even higher than the mandate you got. This is a way of bullying the president and having number was and psychology was with the president and also his people. Remember how the Azimio 2017 campaign was very effective. If you remember the 10 million strong slogan, it really worked, and it worked in promoting people and having people believe that Azimio was a party that was going to win. And indeed, if you ask me, I believe to a larger extent that election, if it were not for the death of Msando, Raila Odinga would have been declared the president. So it is a strategy where they are also going to use that to show Kenyans that we have people, we have support. You know, if you look at how the politics of the country plays right now, it has been like UDA and Kenya Kwanza have seemed to be the ones with the people. And when these signatures are collected and then they reach 10 million, psychologically, if you look at how human beings behave, they tend to go where there are people. That is why you find that if you are in a stage and you have seen a vehicle that is having people, you will try to go in that vehicle as opposed to going to the vehicle that has no one. So this is a psychological war that they are also going to use to ensure and tell Kenyans that we have people backing our plan, and therefore you can believe that we can have a shot at this presidential seat. So that is also another strategy. The third strategy is what Raila Odinga unveiled and talked about when they went to Kalonzo Musyoka's Thanksgiving in his Yatta farm. You remember that event. In that event, Mwangi wa Iria talked about secession. In the same event, Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga talked about secession. The same event, Martha Karua talked about secession. And Wajakoya also talked. Wajakoya and Eugene Wamalwa talked about secession. And therefore, it could be a way where Kenyans or Azimio and his team are trying to tell William Ruto that if you have decided to run a shareholder government, we do not want to be part of that government. And therefore, let us have our republic, and then you also have your republic. This is a tall order, but in politics, that is a way through which they can ensure that they agitate against the bad leadership, or they can also push this government to listen to their cries and to listen to their desires and demands. The third reason why I think this collection of signatures could be important. During the Jubilee NDC conducted and led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, there is one thing that President Uhuru Kenyatta talked about, that they want to change the constitution and recreate BBI. This was also supported by Raila Odinga. If you watch the last press conference that he had after his vehicle was hit at the other time, not this yesterday, he talked about BBI being brought or constitutional changes being made to ensure there is good governance. I believe that that quest for constitutional change, it is something that has kept Raila Odinga constantly in our political landscape. I believe that this issue to bring BBI back is a major political agenda for Azimio. And that is why you realize that even at the point of selection of IEBC panel members, they are very insistent that IEBC must be an all-inclusive process. And therefore, they said if you appoint your IEBC members, that will be a Kenya Kwanza IEBC. And then we as Azimio will also form an Azimio IEBC. This is also just telling you that in their mind, the thought of separate governments is something that is also very active. So this collection of signatures, while just a few are needed, they might need this 10 million to ensure that at the time when all are collected, or that is their aim, and they know if we aim at 10, we might get 5 or 6. Then from there, if you go and whittle them down and remove those that are not valid, you will remain with a number that is usable for conducting a referendum. And therefore, I believe another reason why these signatures are critical to Azimio is that they want to conduct a constitutional amendment through popular initiative. And for this to succeed, they must have over 1 million signatures to support their bid and show Kenyans that they want to go. This constitutional amendment strategy, it is the strategy that has worked for Raila Odinga. And I believe that is why within every 5-year term, Raila Odinga has always called for constitutional amendment. In the first term of President Uhuru Kenyatta, they had the Okoa Kenya initiative. It failed. In the second term of President Uhuru Kenyatta's leadership, they had the BBI and it also failed. And now this third time, having learned from the Okoa Kenya where they said signatures were having issues, when we got to BBI, they improved the number of signatures to around 4 million so that when you whittle them down, you will at the end of the day remain with 1 million signatures. Then at the BBI stage, they have learned that how to initiate a public initiative referendum. And therefore, for me, I believe another and one of the main reasons why these signatures are being collected, it is supposed to go and ensure that Kenyans have a referendum. That's my take, and you can get down to the comment sections to also give us your views, to tell us about what you think and how Raila Odinga will manage to use these signatures. Thank you again, and continue subscribing, liking our videos, and then let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you. May God bless you.